just slacking me there saying this was where I do my solo. So I'm the Robbie Williams of Take That. Exactly, yeah. So first of all, just to say thank you so much to Rob and everyone at Rob's church. I mean, Holy Trinity, Rathmines. It really is an honor to be able to come and speak with you this afternoon. And to be honest, it really is a privilege to be able to share a platform with such eloquent and distinguished speakers. And I very much feel out of my depth with that standard. I suppose this morning, overall, I would find that it was very stimulating, which is code word for not understanding a lot of it. And I was there scratching my head, wondering how we could have the benefit of having all these different mothers in our lives. And then I suddenly realized that multiple maternity was something different. I find it quite ironic to be standing here as well, because I actually had to take 2 bites of the cherry in relation to my leaving certificate, and I repeated 6th year here in Rathmines VEC, and it was a great year and it was a great learning curve for me, as well as I managed to do much better the second time round. But here I am back again, still not understanding what anybody's saying. And I suppose that's the difference between myself and Rob, who you may know is my brother. Rob might be considered as more of a head type of person, where I certainly would be seen as more of a heart type of person. But just for clarity, I did better in the leaving. The second time round, granted, the second time round. I've been asked to cover a topic which is called collaboration for the common good. And I suppose really what that comes down to is just people coming together to help other people. And I suppose, you know, in 10 minutes there isn't really that much opportunity to dig into it too deeply. So all I want to do is just spark a few thoughts, and in particular, just I have one word for you today that I would love to be able to finish on. I help lead, as you would have heard me mention earlier, a community development organisation called Solus Project. And I do that with my colleague Sala Heron, who set it up in 2007. Solus Project has a vision to see communities rejuvenated through education and sport. And we are tackling early school leaving and youth crime, and we've got 7 programs by which we do that. And at the very heart of what we do is a very, very strong belief in self-worth. And we want children and young people to really, really understand that they are born and created in the image of God, and therefore they, no matter what their circumstances are, have self-worth. And when they own that for themselves, we find that they start to make much better and healthy life choices because they consider their future as bright. Today, there was, throughout the variety of topics and the different styles of speakers, I think there was a common theme really coming through. And it was this idea that there's a decrease in the church in terms of its position as a moral guide. A removal of the church from the town square in terms of its voice. And an increase in the suspicion of the church as an institution. But in contrast to that, we heard and we saw, whether it be in history or today, individuals who are standing up and shaping and making a difference in society before and society today. And Oz would have mentioned people like Wilberforce, King, Wesley, and then St. Augustus. But then also we saw the passion and vision of people like Neve, people like Sam, and people like Marcus. And Marcus, I think, summed it up really, really well for me in those 2 small words. And he said, do something. And as individuals, we have this heart cry within us that we look at something and we say, it's not right. It's just not right. And we stand up and we say, well, I'm actually going to do something. And quite often it's a very brave thing that has to be done, because you have to set out in a journey that is going to be hard, it's going to be difficult, there's ups and there's downs, but you're still willing to do it as an individual. And if then through that you start to shape culture or society, then that really is a byproduct. It's not what you intentionally set out to do. You intentionally set out to tackle an injustice that's in society. But I think really within that then, and sorry, I should also mention William there as well, because William, just to say, it's in a postmodern setting. I just had to get you in there, William. What is postmodern? I don't know what postmodern is. I just keep thinking I'm going to be time warped into something in the future, and I suddenly will understand what postmodern is. I'm just living my life, but anyway. But I find that the challenge for those of us that are willing to do something and to stand up and do it is that our strength might be our passion and our vision, but our weakness then is going to be our isolation and quite often our pride. And I find in all that I do and in all that I see around me with people who are like-minded is this strength of passion and vision, but quite often on the other side of your strength is your weakness, and it's very closely related. And therefore we have to be very careful that we keep an eye on our weakness, and I would say it's putting ourselves in isolation or carrying ourselves in a prideful manner. And therefore, under this heading of collaboration for the common good, this coming together in order to help others, I think we have to combat that as people, and we have to make sure that we do come together and do it together. And therefore, the word and the key for all of this is humility. And I find that that's really lacking in today's society. And even though somebody who is, I'm outgoing and I might be sort of a people person, that might be seen as overconfident, but at the same time you can still have a humble heart. Or likewise, somebody who's actually timid and an introvert, while they may not be very obvious to the world, they can still be very prideful. So it's not about how the outworking of how you demonstrate yourself, but it's really inside in terms of your heart's response to the difficult decisions in everyday life. And I would love to think that we as individuals, with this sense of passion and vision, would really grasp with this idea that our target in all that we do is to be humble. And I find that really, really a challenge quite often, especially in the environment where I work, in that I'm going into difficult situations where I'm dealing with people from very disadvantaged backgrounds, and I can say to myself, I'm superior, I'm educated, and I have the answer to all of your problems. When really what I'm doing, or what I'm called to do, is to stand beside them in a loving way to support them and help them whatever way I can. And that for me is humility in action. That's something you have to fight for, and it doesn't quite often come that easily. But also humility in coming together. And right now, we as an organization are talking to another organization, and we're considering this idea of doing a joint venture together. And we come with our set of values and our set of passions. They come with their set of values and their set of passions. And all of a sudden, when we start to see those two streams converge, pride can rise up, arrogance can rise up. And if we don't solve that, because we both know that the joint venture is the right thing to do, who suffers? The people that both of us are trying to reach out to. And therefore, I would love to know that all of us, under the heading of collaboration for the common good, would be individuals that would strive to ensure that we never do the thing in isolation, that we always be reaching out to other like-minded people in order that we would collaborate together, not for our sake that we can build up a strong empire, but that we genuinely can see good in our city. And ultimately, that's all I ever set out to do in the first place, and that's what I want to continue to do, and therefore I'm willing to do that with other people who've got the same heart and passion. So if the word for today, under collaboration for common good, is humility. Thanks for your time.